feel compelled to make a video. It's Saturday, and this is an extra video because I just got a message on YouTube, and I got a message the other day where people think that, I seem to have a moment of weakness in my videos, and I say something like, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm saying that, to be specific, because I know why I'm doing it. I want to eat that way. I want to do what I do, and I don't need people telling me what to do anymore. So, to be honest, writing me a message and saying, oh, I know you're probably going to be mad and da-da-da-da-da, you go ahead, you spout your truth off. However, in my life, I know that I don't control anybody else and I don't manipulate anybody else. People choose to do things. And just so you know, my husband eats that way, whether I'm eating healthy or not. I ate raw for a whole year while he still ate out, at McDonald's, ate chips, ate junk, ate whatever. So your judgment of me and my husband does not look good on you. Let's just say that. That's a comment that was not approved on one of my videos. And the comment today that I should watch Earthlings, which is a video about how factory farming is not good and da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to say something. If these things that are apparently going against the grain, against the government, and against everything that, is wrong, if it was really that, do you think the government would let any of that shit out into the public? Not necessarily saying it's shit. I agree with a lot of it, and I do eat a lot of organic food and local food and such, and just because I eat Pop-Tarts or ice cream, that's none of your fucking business, okay? So, writing me a message and telling me that I'm basically not good enough, or not kind enough, or not whatever, you don't know me, you don't know what I do for the universe, or for the planet, or for people, and you watch one video in a whole friggin' year or two, and you say, oh, well, maybe you should, let me read this nice little comment that somebody who I thought was a really nice person decides to write me, but apparently they're a judgmental mess. And that's me being judgmental in return, because I am pissed. I resent you, and you know who you are if you're watching this, for saying, watch Earthlings. Decide not to eat ice cream and Pop-Tarts for someone other than yourself. Restricting garbage food and supporting junk food brands and factory farming is not the right track. Good luck. It's not easy, but it's doable. Who are you? Who are you? I'm going to tell you who I imagine you are. You're someone who has absolutely no direction of your own in life. So what you do is you listen to anything that's in popular culture. And if you're going to tell me that eating raw and eating vegan isn't popular, look around you. It's on Oprah, it's on Dr. Oz, it's on all over YouTube, it's on everywhere, okay? So there's a lot of people doing it, not for the animals, not for other people, but yeah, for themselves, okay? And so, let me put it to you this way. Who's really being controlled? Anytime something's going on in the media, I do what works for me, okay? I've done what works for other people in the past, trying to just live up to other people's expectations and such, and that doesn't work for me anymore. So who's really being controlled? Maybe the government feels like there's just not enough food in the world, so it starts making all these videos. If I want to be a conspiracy theorist, okay? Starts making all these videos and allows them out into the public. Everybody starts watching them and they're like, oh shit, we gotta start doing this, start doing that. And oh, ban GMOs now, you gotta ban GMOs. Maybe the food supply is low, and so in order to make up for their negligence, they want to blame it on us. So when we ban GMOs and we ban non-organic foods and we ban this and that, and then there's a food shortage and we ban it, it's illegal to do GMOs, it's illegal to do all this. Oh my god, what happens? Holy shit. Now there's a food shortage, and the people who didn't, say, oh, I want GMOs or I don't want GMOs, we have to suffer because of you guys who said, oh, I don't want GMOs. Because they might have caused cancer. There was no scientific evidence linking that to that, but it might have. Okay, so now all of a sudden you're in a predicament if, what I imagine could happen happens. What if food production gets so low and you've made it illegal to reproduce anything? The government wins and we end up in famine. Then who are you going to be forcing to go vegan, to go organic, to go raw? Wake up, people. You want to think of somebody other than just yourselves? Look at the bigger picture. That's all I'm going to say about that. I eat healthy, fairly healthy, a lot of the time now. I also suffer from binge eating disorder. So if you're going to sit here and put me down because you think you're better or you're more advanced or you're at a higher consciousness, ask yourself who gave you that superiority complex. Because the way I see it, we're all equal. Whether you eat organic, whether you eat GMO, whether you eat local, whether you eat whatever you want. All this to say, guys, I'm going to continue on with the quest to weigh less, but I'm going to continue on spiritually. I'm going to focus on my spiritual and emotional health and drop the weight that I'm bearing for that stuff. I'm still going to label it the quest to weigh less. If I have the camera with me, I'm going to vent, or I'm going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm no longer going to keep my theories in or my whatever, because this is about, it's going to be a new thing. I'm not going to call it weekly Rant and Praise anymore, and I'm not going to call it, not going to have a weigh-in Wednesday anymore. I'm not going to have a tell-all Tuesday. The new videos are going to be called Quest to Weigh Less, Radical Honesty to Weigh Less. And that might mean I'll lose weight physically, might mean I'll lose whatever. I'm just sick of putting it out there so people that are in their own heads who think they can twist and manipulate people into changing, I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. So if you ask me what I'll eat, what I'm eating, and what I'm doing, I'll answer your questions, but I'm not going to openly put that out there. Because I have some integrity, and I believe that I'm allowed to do what I want, whether you think so or not. I feel for the people out there who think that they are controlled, or that they've been brainwashed into eating a certain way, and now they must change it, or else the world is going to go to hell. Honestly, there is a higher power out there. I'm not talking God, but I'm talking like government and such. So for you to think you have any sense of control, even just because of changing how you eat and being this person you think is perfect, that's false. The only thing that you have control over in this world is yourself. And so lose your mind, come to your senses, and stop thinking that people need to live up to your expectations. People, wake up. That's where wars start. I'm the kind of person who can sit here and get upset using my words and then realize and come to my senses, oh, maybe I see where they're coming from. I see where those people were coming from with their comments because they believe something totally different than I do. I believe in doing what we want for ourselves and helping others. There's a balance. These people don't realize that they're eating vegan because they chose that. They're not eating vegan because the animals told them to or because whatever. They can pretend that's how it started. I mean, that's what it may turn into. But these people made the decision on their own because they feel they're helping the animals. And maybe they are. And that's cool. I appreciate them and I respect them for that. However, to go around and telling people that what they're doing is wrong and that they're not good enough and that they're not standing at a higher power, guys, you're creating wars. Wars that you are not even fighting. Really, honestly, why are you giving in to these things you don't even know? Anyways, so Rob, I'll be continuing the Quest to Weigh Less, and maybe someday soon I'll bring back, there will be rants and the Radical Honesty segments of the Quest to Weigh Less. This is going to be number 1. And then, someday when I'm really wholeheartedly into losing the weight and I've lost some, I'll start making videos again. Because my whole idea is to inspire people, but if it's not in my heart to inspire people in the way that I'm losing weight, I think I've kind of come to acceptance that I am where I am right now. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop eating smoothies or eating whatever, but I just don't need people judging me on who I am and thinking that they can change me because they have some sort of upper hand in life or a silver spoon in their mouth. Nobody is more intelligent than anybody else. We're all doing what works for us. And I know some people will disagree with what I said, but logic is logic, and knowledge is knowledge. Everybody has a different intelligence level or knowledge based on different opinions. Like, I could go up to somebody who someone might think is extremely smart, and I might not think they're smart. Or someone could come up to me and think I'm not very smart, and another person could think, wow, she's really, really intelligent. So, for anybody to say that anything they know to be knowledge is and what is correct, honestly, I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to do what works for me, and comments like that are not going to be approved on my wall, and I just won't associate with you. I'll support you, but what I mean by not associate with you is that I'm not going to give in to your delusions of control, of controlling me or having any say in my life or what I do or who I am. And this is me sticking up for my rights as a human being and as a being of God, as we all are. If you don't believe in God, then whatever you believe in. If you're a product of science, or if you're a product of Allah, or whatever, just be who you are. And my biggest advice is, like, what works for me is when people try and tell me what to do, sure, I get a little ruffled, and I imagine that's normal. For me it is. I get ruffled at first. Then I see both sides of the story. However, I'm going to grow in a way that works for me. I'm not going to grow in a way that works for someone else. So that advice doesn't work for me. If it works for you to bow down to other people, or to delusion to bow down to other people and do what other people say and, whatever, that's your unattainable need to please others. Imagine that you're living life realizing that it's really hard to please others, and you're probably unhappy a lot of the time with your decisions and what you're doing, and I imagine that isn't a fulfilled life when you're always trying to live up to other people's expectations. Saying that my husband is enabling me, that's another thing I have to address. My husband, like I said, eats that way anyway, so why would he stop me from eating that way if he eats that way? That's him being a hypocrite and having a false sense of control over me, and that doesn't happen. So whether he gives me food and goes picking up food for me, I would go pick up the food myself. It just happens that I'm not out and about, or I'm busy, so sometimes I ask him to get me stuff. That's not me manipulating him to go get me something. Actually, when we had pizza, to be specific, he called me and said, I'm getting pizza, do you want some? And I said yes, on my own volition. He didn't have a gun to my head saying, Lisa, you better eat that pizza or else. And I did not have a gun to his head saying, you better get me that pizza or else. That's not the way my relationship works. So if that's how yours works, cool, good on you. And if that's what you think is going on, whatever, that's your choice. However, I know what's going on in my life and what's going on with my husband and I. And one of these days, maybe eating this way may not work for us. And I'll do whatever it is that my heart tells me to do at that time. I love people. I love the earth. I love animals, and sometimes I eat them. In all honesty, that's, I see the sadness in it, and I personally, couldn't kill them. I'll be completely honest, and yeah, that's hypocritical. It's very hypocritical. Oh, you'll eat them, but you won't kill them. I have watched some of Earthlings. I watched Food Inc. I watched different things, and to say that, don't support these big things, okay, so it took 50 years, we'll say. This is a statistic I'm pulling out of my ass. It took 50 years for factory farming, actually more than that, to make a boom. 1920, after the First World War, I think was when canned goods started coming in, so factories were really booming. It was the factory age. Say about 90 years, 80, 90 years, and factories are just thriving. As we know, we've got food chains and everything, okay? Give it another 90 years with the organic thing, if we live that long, since we're going to be banning GMOs and everything else, apparently. Give it another 90 years, and all those farmers and everybody and blah, blah, blah will realize, oh, Now we need to start reproducing at a higher rate, or else we're going to have a famine. So, all of a sudden, what was humane, it was whatever, is now going to cycle around again. Sure, we can tell ourselves that it's sustainable, and that we can all do it, and whatever. But eventually, I will tell you in all honesty, I have a passion for other things in life, for helping people psychologically, emotionally, and if they want some ideas on how to detoxify, I can give them information about that, and I can help them in that facet. And I take photos, I'm a photographer, and I edit videos, and I can do things for people. And I can, when I make money, I can donate, or I can give homeless people that live on the streets money, or I can take them out for food. That is my choice. I don't have the patience nor the knowledge to grow my own food. And sure, I can learn, but it's not something that interests me. And I don't need to be a jack of all trades. I don't need to. And for people to think that they need to spread themselves thin and do everything on their own, if you enjoy that, that's cool, because that's your calling. That's what you're feeling compelled to do. I'm not feeling compelled to do that. It just doesn't work that way. People have different reasons they're here on the planet. So to force people to do everything the exact same way, that's like fascist. These organic farmers and that aren't using GMO and whatever, we get to that point. What about the other side of the argument where all of a sudden they need to start mass reproducing? Okay, so they start doing exactly what's happening right now. What do you do then? Oh, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. Yeah, sure, I'm cool with that. Are you? Are you cool with living in the now instead of trying to make up some future that may or may not happen? In the end, God has control. I live in a household with 4 people, and we all need to eat, and we all don't have the same likes or dislikes. Some of the stuff we do like, all of us. However, I can't just be like, well, I'm going to spend our entire grocery money on organic stuff for me. I don't know what you guys are going to eat, but sorry. Honestly, you don't know what people's financial situations are, and you don't know whatever, and then your next argument would be, oh, well, don't buy expensive meat. Just so you know, meat is subsidized by the government when it's in a grocery store. Fruits and vegetables aren't. So technically, if I bought as much fruits and vegetables as I needed, which I used to do, because I was raw for 10 months, one of the people that wrote me that message about watching Earthlings and blah, 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 I don't think you've actually stayed raw for any length of time, to be honest. And I was vegan. I would not use leather. I wouldn't, whatever. However, I realized, something kicked in and said, okay, this is, for me, this is my, whether it's right or wrong, I can't say. I don't know the future. However, to me, this whole propaganda about GMOs and not eating sprayed and pesticide things and whatever, it's what's making us sick and blah, 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 blah. Well, for me, it didn't resonate with me, so the stress was making it worse on my health, and I wasn't able to digest anything after a while, and I still can't now because of how much the stress of being told what to do and feeling like I had no choice of what I could do. When I came out of victim mode and victim mentality and realizing that, I have choices, and whether people are okay with the choices I make or not, I still have them. And I'm going to continue to eat what works for me. And I go to the market. I buy organic chicken sometimes. It just depends. And I just bought local organic eggs. And I just bought local, natural, unsalted butter. So, telling me I need to eat a certain way, you don't know half of it. You have no friggin' idea. I had pizza from a fast food joint for the first time in a little while. So I used to have pizza every single friggin' day for a while at one point, or every few days, or donairs, or some sort of fast food. So I'm coming around. I'm coming a long ways. But I don't want to give it up completely. And that is my choice. And if whoever you're following, your higher power that's out there, that is controlling your thought process and whatever, and somebody must be controlling mine, we must all be brainwashed, whoever it is, they got you. They've got you. And that's cool. You continue to do what works for you, and I'm going to do what works for me. And maybe someday I'll be eating that way. But even when I'm eating the way you say is right and ethical and complete and healthy, I'm not going to be the one going around telling people that they need to eat that way. People have freedom. And I totally feel that, and I respect that. You know, I appreciate you for sharing with me what you think is right. However, this is me. So you either watch my videos because you like who I am as a person, and you either agree with what I'm doing or you don't. It is what it is. I said it before, and I'll say it again. This is to the last 2 people who left me these comments. I do my thing, and you do your thing. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. You are you, and I am I. And if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped. Fritz Perls, Gestalt Therapy, 1969. I resented you for leaving those comments. However, I understand you're just living by your beliefs and by what you feel is right, and that's cool. You are you, and I am I. And we're not seeing eye to eye here, and that's okay. However, all I know is that in the end, I'm going to let people be who they are, and I'm not going to be like, ugh, I'm not talking to her or I'm not watching her videos because she totally doesn't eat the way I want her to, or she's being controlled and doesn't even realize it, or she's controlling and doesn't even realize it, so I'm not watching her videos. Or when I do, I'm going to say that they need to stop controlling people, and that's that. Or I'm going to say that, you know, they need to eat this way and not that way. If I'm watching you, it's because I support you, and you're serving my growth in some way, or you're serving what, you know, I grow, and then I put something out in the universe, and it helps someone else, and inspires someone else. So, you know, it's a chain of inspiration, and I just wish you'd respect me the way I respect you. Sure, I may have thoughts that come through my mind every now and again that say, oh my God, why is that person doing that? Why did they just write that comment? How dare they? And blah, 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 blah. But in the end, I know you have the right to do that. So who am I to say that you shouldn't say what you say or do what you do? I know that. You've just watched the first episode of The Quest to Weigh Less, Radical Honesty to Weigh Less. Feels good to get that off my chest. And today, like I said, it's Saturday, and I don't know, I'm not going to have a specific schedule where I'm going to, you know, specifically say da-da-da-da-da. But, yeah, I need you to know that for now I'm putting a hold on the other parts of The Quest to Weigh Less. The ranting will be in this segment from now on. The Tell-All Tuesday and the Weigh-In Wednesday, I'm stopping that for now. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for understanding. So I'll still be doing my Sunday videos, and these will be random. They will happen whenever I'm feeling inspired to talk about something or to be radically honest about something going on in my head or something going on in my life. It may be a rant. It may just be a praise. Could be a praise, you know, an appreciation. Whatever I'm feeling really strongly about. Instead of like forcing myself. I'm just not feeling the Tell-All Tuesday and the Weigh-In Wednesday as much as I was before. I imagine it could also be that I'm not really prioritizing weight loss, and that might be why I've been fluctuating back and forth. And so it is what it is. I'm going to accept where I am right now, and through acceptance, I'll be able to grow and move on from this experience. So thank you so much for watching what you have of The Quest to Weigh Less thus far. The Quest to Weigh Less, if you're watching for weight loss, I'll still talk about it, I'm sure, a little bit here and there, some of my efforts, but I'm not going to talk about foods. I'm not going to talk about weight. If I'm losing weight and I notice it and it's out there, I will take photos and show you befores and afters and everything. So thank you so much for watching so far. I hope you enjoy this segment, the Radical Honesty to Weigh Less segment of The Quest to Weigh Less for me, just being who I am and continuing to grow. and I hope that you'll grow with me, that I can help you or serve you in some way. Life is what it is, and it's what we make it. And I could choose to feel like, oh, what I'm doing is shit, and I'm a victim, and whatever. But I'm not choosing to be that person anymore. I'm moving on. And I've got a few people to thank for that. I won't name those people, because then you'll know who wrote the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day or good evening whenever you're watching this, and I appreciate you. Namaste.
Find a way to say it now. Don't be afraid to say it now. Everything we're keeping inside. Don't wait, just let your heart speak. Don't waste another heartbeat, 'cause we'll never know till we let it out.